Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bond Armory. I'm Ray Crumpold, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sig P226. The Sig P226 was actually designed for entry into the 1984 Joint Service Small Arms Program held by the U.S. Army to find a replacement for their 1911 A1. Now, the two finalists in this program were Sig and Beretta with their M92SF. It was Beretta that won the contract in the long run due to government cost restraints, but the Sig story doesn't end there. It was later adopted by the U.S. Navy SEALs with the Mark 25 variant, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. Now, the Sig 226 isn't a U.S. military exclusive either. It's actually used all over the globe by countries like Finland, Ireland, France, and the UK's Ministry of Defense. And with that in mind, let's talk about the Bond connection. Even though it was developed in the late 70s, the P226 doesn't make an appearance in a Bond film until Brosnan's Die Another Day. In what turns out to be a Q-branch virtual reality simulation, the terrorist that's holding M hostage is armed with a 226. Now fast forward to the Daniel Craig era, and during the climax of Casino Royale, one of Gettler's henchmen is armed with a 226. Next, in Quantum of Solace, Rogue Agent Mitchell, the one that shoots M, his sidearm is a 226. Now, Bond actually uses one himself to exact revenge on the corrupt Bolivian police chief, Carlos, for the murder of Rene Mathis. Next, we don't see the 226 again until Spectre, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But first, let's go to FreeState gun range, take a closer look at the 226, and shoot for accuracy. The Sig Sauer P226 is a full-sized, semi-automatic, hammer-fired handgun. Typically chambered in 9mm, it's also available in .40 Smith & Wesson, .357 SIG, and .22 long rifle. The 226 is also available in multiple types of actions, including double action, single action only, or double action only. Total length of the 226 is 7.7 inches with a barrel of 4.4 inches, 1.5 inches in width, and 5.5 inches in height. The 226 features an extremely ergonomic grip that's one of the most comfortable handguns to hold. It also has a magazine capacity of up to 20 rounds plus one in the chamber. And select models are equipped with SIG's patented SRT, or short reset trigger. Now let's take it on the range and see how we do for accuracy. As usual, we're back at FreeState gun range. We have our target set out to 10 yards, and we're going to shoot center mass for accuracy. The 226 comes in a host of different variants. There's the 226 Select, the Legion RX, the Emperor Scorpion, the Mark 25, and the TAC Ops. Each one has little differences that make each one unique, and they are all amazing pistols. Now, the SIG that I'm using is actually the standard model. The 226, regardless of the version, is a super accurate handgun. Now, select 226 models have what's called the SRT, or short reset trigger. The travel on the SRT is about 1/4 of an inch, and it makes follow-up shots super quick. The 226 definitely has some mass to it. It is a heavy gun, but all that weight helps mitigate the recoil. The ergonomic grip is super comfortable. It feels great in the hand. It fits perfect. and the rubberization that's on it makes it extremely comfortable and absorbs some of that felt recoil. You can already see our grouping starting to appear on the target. And just like that, 50 rounds, so let's bring in the target and take a look at our grouping. I am super pleased with that grouping. The 226 is an insanely accurate handgun. Hands down my favorite hammer-fired semi-auto. Okay, I said it earlier, now it's time to talk about Spectre. Now, amongst Bond fans, Spectre has a range of emotions. Some people hated it, some loved it, people thought it was rushed. I enjoyed it. I saw it in theaters twice. And I remember the first time I saw it, there was one particular scene that got everybody in the crowd to laugh. I did too at first. The second time I saw it, all I could think of is, what the hell are the writers thinking? That's the scene that we're going to take a look at now with the 226. Let's take a look.
I said I hate guns.
Sig 226. Front sight, rear sight, hammer. You just point it, you squeeze the trigger, you try not to close your eyes. Please. Try it. I don't have to teach you anything, do I?
Okay, so did you catch what was wrong with that scene? Maybe? Let me break this down. There are 3 basic firearm safety rules, the golden rules. 1 is to keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. The muzzle's the business end, that's where the bullet comes out. 2 is to keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Now, Bond is a frequent violator of the trigger on the finger rule. It's like every movie poster has got his finger on there. 3rd, always treat a firearm as if it's loaded. Those are the safety rules. Those are basic. Those are taught in every single firearms class. It's the first thing you go over before you can handle the gun at a firing range. Let's take a look at the scene again, and this time break it down step by step.
Pick it up.
Okay, so right off the bat I'm going to call out Bond. He's assuming that Madeleine Swann has absolutely no firearms experience whatsoever. But he's putting a gun on the table and telling her to pick it up. That doesn't seem like the smartest thing to do to somebody that doesn't know anything about guns. Let's keep watching.
I hate guns.
I promised him I'd protect you. The first thing to do is to teach you how to protect yourself.
What if I shoot you by mistake?
Wouldn't be the first time. Pick it up.
I said I hate guns.
Sig 226. Front sight, rear sight, hammer.
Okay, so Bond is trying to give Madeleine an extremely rudimentary breakdown of the parts of the gun. Now, I understand that that's actually kind of a good thing. But did you notice where Bond's finger is this whole time? It starts off in the trigger guard, behind the trigger, but by the time this part of the scene ends, he's got it right there on the trigger, ready to squeeze.
You just point it, you squeeze the trigger, you try not to close your eyes. Please. Try it.
Okay, so this part just makes no sense to me. Bond assumed Madeleine knows nothing about guns, but he tells her, point, squeeze, try not to blink, please try it, and slides her the gun. She could easily just pick up the gun and do exactly what he asked her to do, and he'll get shot in the chest if there's a round in the chamber. Keep in mind, up to this point in the scene, there's been no safety check on the firearm. If Madeline picks it up, shoots Bond, this would be much shorter of a movie. Luckily for Bond, Madeline does have some experience handling a firearm. She's removed the magazine and cleared the chamber, which there was a round in. Bond, who assumed Madeline knew nothing about firearms, tells her to pick up the gun, point, squeeze, please try it, don't blink, hands her a loaded firearm with a round in the chamber. This whole scene is just silly to me. Thankfully, Madeline cleared it, but if you notice right now, she's pointing the gun directly at Bond with her finger on the trigger.
I don't have to teach you anything, do I?
It doesn't appear so, but you know what? Maybe she can teach you a thing or two about basic firearm safety. With that out of the way, let's go back and close out the review. So there you have it. Spectre's connection to the 226. Please remember those 3 safety rules. They could save your life or the life of someone else. Now, let's do some closing thoughts on the 226. As I said, it's easily one of my favorite handguns. I would honestly put it in the top 5 best handguns ever made. It's super accurate, has a huge magazine capacity, feels great in the hand, and the collectability is going nowhere but up. There are so many different variations out there as well, from the Mark 25 to the Legion. I guarantee you'd find one that fits you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Bond Armory.